Hey, yo, it's me, Pops Van Marmalade, and you're watching the Comics-Related Madness Network. Huh? So come get some. CromCon. CromCon.
Madness Entertainment Group presents the Madness Comic Network with original programming and additional comic-related content.
Hey, we want to shout out to our sponsors, Daytona Beach Comic Con. If you are a fan of comic books, if you're a fan of comic book conventions, and if you like meeting comic book creators and getting comics and comic-related stuff, then you need to make your plans to attend Daytona Beach Comic Con. This year's show is September 9th and 10th. Silverline will be there, so you should make your plans to be there too. We'll see you there. If you like comics and find yourself in the Orlando, Florida area, doesn't everyone come to Orlando at some point in time to see the House of Mouse? But when you're here, you need to make it a point to visit Coliseum of Comics, especially the one on East Colonial Drive. They carry Silverline comics, even a limited edition Coliseum of Comics version of our comics. So, when you go, be sure to ask for Silverline Comics and tell them we sent you. OCD stands for Orlando Collector Deviants. OCD, Steve and Trish, they're a family of geeks who promote geek things, particularly those around the Orlando, Florida area. They're big supporters of Silverline, and we think you should be supporters of theirs too. Go give them some love. If you are an independent comic book maker and you need to get your independent comics made, you need to look no further than Kablam Digital Printing. They print our books, and they do a bang-up job. They're not only trusted by Silverline, but many, many independent comic book makers. Head on over to kablam.com and see for yourself just how easy it is to have your comic printed by them. And tell them Silverline sent you.
Hi, this is Tim TK, host of That Silverline Show on Tuesday. Join us at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific every Tuesday night as we discuss pop culture and the joys of making comics.
Hi, I'm Barb Kilber, co-host of Silverline's Wednesday Wham. Join us each Wednesday nights as we discuss comics, literature, movies, and anything else that may catch our attention.
I'm Roland Mann, and I host Silverline's Silver Sunday. Join me every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern as we make mine Silverline. All right, hello everybody, and welcome to Silver Sunday. We thought
that's us.
Yes, that's us. We thought we'd get the Kickstarter video out of the way, so you will have seen it, and we can talk about it some. So, it is Sunday night. It is January the 16th, 2022, the year of our Lord. I am Roland, and shouts out to just got back from DeLand Comic Show today. So shout out to DeLand Comics and Collectible. Shout out to our sponsor, Daytona Beach Comic Con. September 10th and 11th, I think. But September, so mark your calendars. Curtis, tell people who you are.
Hi, I'm Curtis Fujita. I'm the creative director at Silverline. I'm a Kung Fu instructor and artist and writer, and my upcoming comic book for Silverline is called Shadow Ghost. It's a Kung Fu comic by a Kung Fu master. So that is me.
Sweet. Tommy, tell people who you are.
My name is Thomas Florimonte Jr. I've been doing comics since the early 90s. I've worked for pretty much everybody at one point or another, but I've done a bunch of stuff with with Roland, a lot of stuff with Roland.
Yeah.
Roland's my buddy. But we did a lot of the earlier Silverline stuff, a lot of the Cat and Mouse stuff at the beginning, and the Demon Tales story of the earlier Silverline stuff. But lately, I've been doing, besides my own stuff, I've been inking the team up book over Mr. Pete there. I've been doing the Trump's book, which I'm also going to ink over Pete on the book 2, second half of book 2.
Yeah.
And what we showed you guys just earlier, the Rejects book. I've got a couple of pages left to go, and I am going to show some inking on that so I can knock it out. I just got a couple more pages to go, and I'll be done, and we can get Haley to finish coloring, and then we'll be ready to go. But
Cool.
but yep. But actually, what I'm going to do, I've got to shut my computer off because I can't share anything. So I'll be back in just a second. I'm going to shut down and come back on. I'll be back in a second, guys.
Pete, tell folks who you are.
Well, hi. Oh, hey, where am I? There I am. I'm Pete. I'm just a penciler. I'm just a penciler on Silverline Team Up Champion Miss Fury. I'm just a penciler on Trump's issue 4, which is will be finished soon. Yeah, I pencil stuff. Here you go. That's it.
And you also get up at not even the crack of dawn in the middle.
It's 1 a.m. now. That's all right.
Yeah, 1 a.m.
1 a.m.
over on that island across the ocean from us, right?
Indeed.
And we appreciate you doing that. All right, so tonight it's called Tommy Says. Tommy bailed on us.
He bailed out before you even have to do anything.
I think that might have been his plan.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. So I'm not sure whether he can hear us. You talk about a little bit about the Kickstarter while he's there. So guys, here's one of the things I noticed about the Kickstarter. I'm looking at it and it says $28.58 is the amount that we've raised thus far of our $3,000 goal. That means, and I know my math is not very good. That means we are, and Curtis, check my math here, $142 away from the goal.
Penny, square root, dot the I, cross the T. You are correct, sir.
142 away from our goal. I really, 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 really want us to make that goal tonight. So if you're listening and you haven't backed yet, please consider backing. Go look at it. There's all kind of stuff there. If you're like, man, times are tight, you can get the digital for both books for $8, right? And the cool thing is you get to read 2 fun comic books in the end, right? When you get them, you're going to get to read them. You can, I don't think there are any of the, no, there are no early bird specials. So if you didn't get on, you're not an early bird anymore. That's just all there is to it, right? But you can still get the double feature, which is a flip book. So you'll get one story on one side, and you flip it over and get the other story on the other side. Lots of those left. There's still artwork left. There's still a couple commissions left, I think, from C. Michael. And of course, you can get all the backstock. I think, if I'm not correct, and Tommy, help me out here. Don't we have have you looked at? Don't we got a couple pages to add, don't we? The original art.
I'll go on and look.
Yeah, go on and look, because I don't think I have them all up there. I have all that I have here, but I'm thinking that you had mentioned that we're going to add some more.
The only thing that I've got that I hadn't given to you is covers. So you've got everything that I've already was going to.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I told somebody today when they were like, man, one of the pages that I wanted was gone. And so I said, well, I'll check, but Tommy may be inking on paper one or two more. I'll check and see if those might be, we might be able to add those. And so they said, yes, please do that and let me know.
Maybe one of the ones that I haven't done, we can turn that into one. They can see if they want that one or not, and I can do that one up that way. I think I've got 3 or 4 that I haven't done anything to.
For paper.
We'll talk about it afterwards, and maybe you can run it by them. Yeah.
Sounds good. Look at that. We've already got a handful of comments here. Infrafan says, hey, I wanted to thank you guys for the incoming Silverline goodie bag that you gave away on Instagram. I'm really excited about that. Well, cool, Instagram. Instagram. Cool. Info fan. Listen, it's been a long day. I've been up very early at the show and spent all day at the show. My voice might give out before we're done, but thanks, Info fan, for supporting us. Really appreciate it, and hope you like what's in the goodie bag. And appreciate you hanging out with us. Bobby Weskovich says, "Hello, Big Dummy. What's up? Screw loose." For those of you who don't know, it's my father-in-law. Brittany Mann said, "What up?"
Hey,
and she said, "Dad said tonight is Tommy night. I had to check it out, of course."
Yeah, I'm here. There you go. That's it.
It is Tommy night. Yeah.
Eric be inking. That's Tommy night. That'll be inking. Yep.
Eric Fent says, "Congrats on the Kickstarter, everyone. 95% there in 3 days. Very cool."
I know it's very cool, isn't it?
Yes,
Yep.
and thank you, Eric, for your support. Very much. We've got. You may have heard. Share it out tonight. I'm hoping that we can get. I'm hoping we can make that tonight. Maybe even before the stream is over. That would be pretty cool.
That would be.
I've been talking to John and Tommy and Haley and seeing if we can come up with some stretch goals. So hopefully we can announce some stretch goals real soon, real quick, and they'll be exciting.
I'm stretching right now. Is that what you meant? No.
Brittany says he gets brownie points for the Christmas decorations. Oh, you do, Tommy. Yeah. Brittany would leave.
This is the last night. I finally had our last Christmas party. We finally, we were out of town during Christmas, so we finally got with everybody, and so this is it. We're taking it all down next week. I don't know what'll be behind me. We'll find out. Whatever my lovely wife decides to put up.
Yeah. So if Brittany had her options, she would keep Christmas decorations up all year long.
Oh well, we did. You guys have seen that we left the tree up the entire year. We just changed it out based off of what the whatever the season, whatever was going on. And during Easter we put eggs in it, and during Mardi Gras time we put all the mask and all that kind of good stuff up. Halloween had some pumpkins in it and stuff, and so but we are tired of seeing this tree. It is coming down. It is done. Because it was my wife's idea to leave it up all year, which I'm fine. If that's what she wanted to do.
Something different.
She's like, no, I'm tired. Let's get rid of this tree. It's taking up a good 5 foot by 5 foot square of our living room here. Let's get it out of here. Yeah. I know it's gonna be weird though, because that thing's been sitting in that one spot, and like when you're used to something in the room, once it's gone, it's going to be like a big blank spot right there, and it's going to be just really odd that there's going to be nothing there. So it's going to be neat. Anyway, sorry, rambling. Shut up.
Infravan says, "Rolling, cracking that whip and denying Del Taco until then." Yeah. Did we post our Del Taco photo from after Daytona? I think we did, didn't we? I know we took one, but I can't remember if we actually posted it.
I don't know. We'll have one coming up here hopefully this week. We'll have all the books for the past Kickstarter done, and
nice.
we'll have us another little run over to Del Taco if we feel like fighting the COVID party by running over there real quick. We can see what we can do. Maybe we'll get something to go and take it to the office. Looks like we're on the coming close to the downward trend of this thing, so thank God.
Sure hope so. Yeah. So how are the how is the paper situation?
Oh, nothing. Let's not talk about it.
Okay. That bad, huh?
Yeah.
So you had said there might be something up my way, and you were going to ask me to get something, but did that not pan out? Or
no, it did. I went and got it.
I told you I'd have done it.
No. Yeah, it was fine. It was after work. The guy said, "Can you come by and get it today?" And I'm like, screw it. So I just ran by after work, and it was in your area of town. So
yeah, we should stop. I just
swung. There we go. It's one of those past tense or something. And I pick it up. Yeah, it was crazy too. It was the guy. He had what do you call the people that buy all the stuff in bulk and they sell it to like Amazon and all that kind of stuff? That's a certain They're called something. Those guys.
Hoarders.
No.
Sailors, right?
I forget what they're called. Yeah, but anyway, so yeah, he had. I went by in his garage, and he just had his garage was just full of stuff. And I'm like,
Really?
oh, that's kind of cool. Well, how about you open that? What is that?
So he just happened to have a lot of paper then?
Yeah, I don't know why. He didn't know either. And so, and then we talked about it, and he's going to get us some more. Now, it's not really the paper that we need, but it's some paper that we can use. So,
Right.
he did something. Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yep.
Better than nothing, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, what was I checking? I was checking the Kickstarter. I was trying to see if I could figure out what was. Oh well, Tommy's going to do that. So Tommy, you happened to bail when we announced the topic tonight was called Tommy Says.
Can't wait.
My computer's messed up. I got to go again.
Yeah, that was kind of what we guessed. So while you're thinking, Tommy, I showed Pete and Curtis a little bit. I hit the dollar boxes, cheap boxes, some $1.50 boxes, and came up with some fun stuff. I probably. Well, actually, not probably. I know I did. I brought home more books than we sold. I picked up some Justice Machine. I know some folks out there are fans of. Tommy, help me out. Is Justice Machine the one that was done by that guy out of Atlanta?
Justice Machine?
Yeah, you remember Justice Machine by Kamiko, right?
Don't think he does.
Because this is Mike Gustovich, isn't it?
Thomas says he doesn't recognize it.
Thomas says he doesn't recognize it.
There you go. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.
That's what I wanted. That's what.
Tommy Angry, Tommy Smash.
I bought some Valkyrie from Eclipse, written by our pal Chuck Dixon.
That's cool.
Yeah. So I missed an issue number 3. It looks like. And I was showing them. I got this Atlas comic, Scorpion, which is by Howard Chaykin, and it listed here that Walt Simonson did some of the inking.
That's cool.
So, which I found to be very cool. Again, John Byrne Marvel team up, Spider-Man and the Wasp. So, I don't think I showed them this one. Got some old Red Sonja.
Oh, nice.
From like 1983. Yeah,
cool.
I forget who did this. I checked. I don't have the right glasses. Oh yeah, that's right. Roy Thomas was the scripter. Denny O'Neil was the editor, so it's got to be pretty good. Anyway, handful of other stuff. Oh, some John Sable. We got some John Sable freelance that by First Comics. And let's see. And then another one I was showing them, Tommy, which I thought was pretty cool, is this it's old fantasy masterpieces, which I located in here. It has a story in here by Jack Kirby. So, oops, I just ripped the comic.
Sacrilege.
You see, he's got his name right there, Kirby, yeah. and ink by Dick Ayers. So I'm looking forward to reading that. It says it was originally published in 1962. So this thing's older than me. So,
well, thanks everybody for tuning into this week's episode of
This weekend to grab that.
So Tommy, why are you sharing the screen?
Do what?
You're sharing the screen. I'm curious why.
Yeah.
Oh,
here we go. We got a question here. I'm saving you, Tommy.
Oh, I'm so tired. I'm sorry. Hold on. wrong screen. Stop sharing.
Oh, this is a good question. Infrafan says, what of your works outside Silverline would you recommend to me to pick up?
Share a screen.
What of your works outside Silverline would you recommend to pick up? Oh, okay.
There we go. I got it right this time.
Let's start, Pete.
Maybe.
I think I have one thing out of Silverline at the moment. And that's Miss Meow #1.
Yeah. So, so your pirate story.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Yeah. I'm here for you, Pete.
So there's two other things. Oh, whoops. I have Webtoons which I haven't updated in over a year. You can check that out.
That's good stuff. Good stuff.
That's called On Grey Seas. That's on Webtoons. If you head over to the Instagram, however, and you go to Room 23, is it at Room 23 or Room 23 Comics? Let me just double check. You'll find it's an Instagram comic book that I was doing on a weekly basis. So I've been busy, but there's eight episodes on Instagram. It's my character, the Last Witchfinder, which is also appearing in February in a 6-page story of that is appearing in an anthology. It's coming out from Dwarf Star Comics.
Oh, that's Zach's. Zach, right?
Yeah, Zach, which I finished this morning.
Nice.
And sent
Don't
off
know
to
anybody.
That's being coloured by Jose Fuentes. So that's on Jose's plate now. I've just shifted it on. It's for him to get done by the end of January. Good luck.
End of January.
Yeah. It was meant to have been done by the beginning of December, but I've been busy.
Busy.
Yeah, that's Room 23 Comics. Is it Room 23 Comics?
Cool. So, On Grey Seas, is that available in print?
Only in Webtoons.
Only on Webtoons. Now, is this
the thing with Webtoons is you're not allowed to print it without their permission. You know that?
Really?
No, I did not know that.
Mm.
So because I was about to recommend that you put it up on Indie Planet, but you can't do that, huh?
No, you have to get permission from them, and the likelihood is that you probably will get permission from them unless it's a massive.
Unless they're getting a lot of views, right?
Gotcha.
But yeah, you do have technically you have to get permission, which I didn't realize when I put it on Webtoons, but I wasn't going to put it anywhere else. So
yeah.
Well, there's Canvas as well.
I don't know that we've talked about this on our show live, but this is something I tell students all the time: is that because that was your first thing on Grey Seas, right?
I mean, technically, no, it's not actually. I had a 10-page story in an anthology that came out before that from
Finger Snap Studios.
Canadian publisher. Oh, that's bad, isn't it?
It's not good.
Oh, that's bad. It's called the anthology is called A Life Finds a Way, and that's from.
And
I'm looking around my room, so I know there's an issue somewhere.
He's like, I need to grab it real quick and see. So,
No,
Pete, this could be one of my recommendations to you. I gotta hide your question in for fan. One of the things I learned to do over time. Eyes here, Pete. Look at this. Yeah. Over time, I learned to under my desk to keep a box.
I have them because I take them to conventions and sell them. You see, so that I've left them all over the other. I can see them from here as well. Excuse me.
Yeah, they meant a lot to him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Cloudscape Comics. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Now that I read it off that's pretty thick there. Now that I read it off the cover, I know the publisher.
So that was the first thing I ever did.
Okay, cool.
Let me find it. Look at that. Written by Kevin Mahadio. I hope I pronounced that right, Kevin. Sorry. And art by me.
Nice.
He
Hold that up to the
approached
screen.
me because it was a free entry competition if you got in.
Hold it up to the screen.
We did that little 10-pager.
Hold it up to the screen.
I was in my second year at Cuba School.
Hold it up to the screen so we can see it.
What the book?
Your art. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, hang on.
Yeah.
Cool.
Nice.
Nice double page.
Yeah, it's a double page spread.
No, it's not.
Oh, no, it's not. Okay.
It's just the way the colors blend.
Just the colors that way. That's nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
No, it was cool.
10 pages, huh?
10 pages. Yeah.
Very
that car's nice though.
Yeah. So
the coloring's not very good. I did the coloring because we couldn't pay anyone, so I did it. It's terrible. The art's all right.
So what I tell my students though is a lot of times, when you're first getting in, trying to, because you hear people sometimes, moan about, oh, this is a bad deal. I signed this and blah, blah, blah. My thing is this: when you're first trying to get in, sometimes you do those things. Sometimes you're like, okay, you know what? Now I would never ever suggest anybody sign their rights and life away, that kind of thing. But sometimes you don't always sign the best deals because you're trying to get somebody to look at your work.
Yeah,
and
that's basically what it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
We got we got $500 basically, so $50 a page, which is then for you to divide between the writer and the artist and whoever else worked on it.
$50
quite good. He just told me to keep it because I did all the art jobs and the lettering and stuff. So yeah, $50 a page, which I wouldn't do now, but my second year at school, I was like, oh, I've got a job. Let's do it.
Oh yeah.
So,
yeah, and it looks good when you're getting ready to graduate, right, to the professors.
Well, yeah, I guess. I just, I draw comics, so if you want more to draw comics, I draw comics.
Yep.
If I get paid for it, even better.
Good answer then. All right, pop it back up here. Who's next? What of your works outside Silverline would you recommend to me to pick up?
I would say all the Inferno Studio stuff, of course. All of my Zomboy stuff, my all my Kid Hero books, all of my when I get time to do them, all of my Little Nay and So-So books. I've been talking to Renee. She the Little Nay and So-So book is a story about, of course, my wife and our pups that have now passed. We've got a new pup now, so we're trying to figure out a way to incorporate a story. But we, when I go to shows now, people really know the other dogs. So I've written we've come up with a story that's just going to make everybody cry. And I'm crying now thinking about it, but it's just such the sweetest story that you guys are going to be so proud of me when I get this story done. It'll be a short story. It'll be like 12 pages, 16 pages, something, one way where the other pups, kind of fade away, and then the new pup comes because she was a rescue. So we got this real cute scene coming up. Look, I'm getting teary just thinking about it. But I'm also doing a lot of stuff with Barry Gregory doing the Gallant books. So we've got a couple of projects. I'm working on one now, and
can you talk about them, or is he keeping them secret?
Well, there's always there's you know how it goes. There's always 4 or 5 things. I'm inking one.
Yeah.
I don't think he wants to talk about it until we actually till I get a little further done on it. Because he's got other books.
For secrets.
Yeah, he's got other, he's got some other books that are coming out before it, so I don't want to bring it up, and then people are going, oh, where's the book this time? But because he's, this is Barry's thing, so whenever he decides he wants to put them out.
Well, I know he said he was working on Funny Man.
Funny Man.
Really good. That was a good.
It does look really good.
Yeah.
He's got some other books that he's got going on. This one is called the Devil Within. Or the Devil Inside, that's what it's called. It's a
Daredevil.
No, it's that character, because Barry does the public domain. It's that character that's split down the middle of the color switches back and forth on the character. I forgot what the real name of the character is now.
Huh.
You've seen it. You've seen it.
Yeah.
It's a Australian character story kind of thing. It's kind of neat. But other than that, all the stuff with you and Silverline, that's pretty much everything. I don't have much time to be doing much anything else.
Yeah. What about past work? So Tommy, if someone could pick up something in the back issue bin.
I'm still super, super proud of all of the Nightman books, and all of the. I did have a huge run of Nightman books. That was the Ultraverse back in the '90s or whatever. Those are always great. What were some of the other books I did with you guys?
You're super proud of those too, right?
Yeah. No. What's the name of that company?
You can't give Pete a hard time.
I've done. I've done so many. I did a lot of backgrounds for Jimmy Palmiotti on so many big name books. So
Yeah.
there was all kind of just really really neat stuff that was really cool. The stuff that we got to do a Bernie Wrightson thing where I did a lot of all the stuff that was that was when Bernie Wrightson was it wasn't Bernie Wrightson with the the Frankenstein Bernie. It was the Punisher
Yeah.
story, so it didn't look like Bernie Wrightson what you would think, but it was still Bernie Wrightson. Oh, look, my screen just went off.
Yeah.
And so that was really cool. All the Spider-Man stuff and but the Strangers. That's what I was going to say. I did a bunch of Strangers, and then a bunch of those X-Mutant books. Those were pretty fun to work on too.
Yeah. With the over Paul.
Over Mr. Paul. Yep. Yep.
See, Bernie Wrightson was listed in the credits for this Howard Chaykin book too. Remember I told you Walt Simonson?
Yeah.
Bernie Wrightson is listed as helping Howard Chaykin for that one too. So,
yeah, that was cool. I wish I would have got some of the pages from that. That would have been neat to have. But I made copies of them all. It was pretty cool. It didn't look like Bernie Wrightson stuff, but it was still his stuff. That was cool.
Yeah. So, Curtis, this answer might be tough for you, huh?
Kind of. I mean, I have a very interesting career, right? Where I worked in comic books as a teenager, and then I went to art college and immediately started working in video games.
Yeah.
And then
what about?
But I did color some books at Malibu.
Yeah.
And the first one is actually my favorite, and I think the most unique one, which was it's called Black September. Black September was, which is pretty cool because it was when when Marvel bought Malibu and the Marvel characters were coming in, and so it's this huge kind of apocalyptic crossover event. And so I can say we were just watching the Eternals this weekend, and I was telling my wife, the first character I ever colored was the Black Knight, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that is very cool.
That's your entrance point. So and there's a lot of Easter eggs in that book because multiple artists worked on it. Stephen Butler worked on a couple pages. Gentleman by the name of Keith Conroy, who now works in animation, did some pages. And Keith and several people, we were kind of early on fans of a lot of things that eventually became popular. So there's a double page spread, if you get this book, where all the armies, it's almost like a Lord of the Rings kind of battle scene. And there's so many Easter eggs in there. And so without anybody knowing, including editorial, we snuck in tons of the Mortal Kombat characters. We snuck in the Dragon Ball Z characters before they were ever localized. So and since they knew how to draw it and I knew how to color it, it was all accurate, So yeah, Black September, I always have a strong place in my heart for that. I love that book.
Yes.
That would be my recommendation.
So what about the video games? Are there any video games you could say, hey, this is one that I was kind of proud of that you should go check out?
Yeah, the first one I worked on, I did character designs for, was called Versus, just VS, and it was by THQ, which is a default company, but they just came back, and it was a fighting game. I always loved fighting games, and it was a fighting game, and the whole idea was they wanted it to be Japanese anime style character designs, but with like American kind of street fashion sensibilities. So there's that. That's a really fun game. The artworks, my designs, my ideas are great. Execution so because I was 18 and from the beginning, but I'm still very proud of that. And I worked on X-Men fighting game. I did storyboards for the animation of that X-Men called X-Men Mutant Academy 2. So both of those are for the PlayStation and PlayStation 2. And I also did some art for a game called Lord of the Rings, The War of the Ring, which was like a real-time strategy. If you're familiar with Command and Conquer and StarCraft and those kind of games, it was a Lord of the Rings version of that for the PC.
That's cool.
Yeah, that was really fun. And it was a funny situation because there were two games running at the same time. There was the ones based on Peter Jackson's movies. And then this company called Vivendi Universal had the rights to do ones based directly on the books. And so they were competing at the same time. So we had to make it look cool, but it couldn't be like Peter Jackson's version, right? And then as soon as we were about halfway through the project, Electronic Arts, who was doing the Peter Jackson version of the game, started poaching everybody from the company that I work with, including me. They were trying to poach me. So it was a funny project. But Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rings. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yes.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So for me, I guess I think of a couple of things. One of them is Vortex that I did for Kamiko, which I think we were talking a little bit before we started. And I was recommending the Elementals to Pete. The Elementals was one of my favorite independent comics back then, and so when I had the opportunity to Vortex was one of the Elementals, and so when I got the opportunity to do some work on that, I was like, "Oh my gosh!" And of course, the artist was Stephen Butler, and
Yeah.
so one of the things that long story short for the Elementals, one of the things I really I'm sorry for Vortex, one of the things I really liked about it was that the Elementals were set in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and for those of you who don't know, there's a Philadelphia, Mississippi. And right outside of Philadelphia, Mississippi, is the Choctaw Indian reservation. And now we could talk about all the, the politicals, but that's not what this is about, right? And so one of the things I did is I had one of the story is I had one of the natives there tried to conjure up the great wind spirit to blow back the corporation that was dumping trash on the reservation, right? And he conjures up Vortex, right? Instead of the wind spirit, he gets Vortex, who has the power of the wind from the Elementals, right? And so Vortex then gets wrapped up in their battle with the corporation. And of course, it's in Philadelphia, Mississippi, and not Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Sadly, that series was never finished. It was just going to be a mini series, but only 2 of them exist. All 4 of them were written. The third one was penciled by an artist. Stephen did 2 issues, and then a guy by the name of Kevin Tuma did the 3rd issue. But Kamiko, this was right when Kamiko was having all their problems, and so it didn't happen. Another one that I don't see very many of these, which I'm not sure why. I see some occasionally, somebody brings some up to me to sign, but I did a Planet of the Apes miniseries with Malibu Comics called Blood of the Apes. Had some fantastic Stephen cover. Did you may have inked 1 or 2 of those, Tommy?
I did. I think I did. Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking so. Has some really good covers on them. Darren Goodhart's the guy who did the interior art. It was inked by Bruce McCorkindale. If you guys know Bruce McCorkindale, he's the guy who does all those Muppets for October. What's the Inktober October thing? He made national news doing all. He put some Muppets in. He puts them in like popular scenes from classic movies and popular movies and things like that, but he just swaps them with the Muppets, and he's got a really big following. He does a lot of cover reproductions too. I don't know, I guess that's what they call it, where he just kind of draws the cover, another version of the cover, and you get the original art, but it's a reproduction. I almost bought one of those on an auction several months ago. I was like, "What? That's original art for so and so." Looking at it, I'm like, "No way! It really? How can it only be $25?" And then come to find out, it's some, it wasn't Bruce, but some Joe Schmo had just done a reproduction of it. I'm like, that's cool that you can do it, but don't put it up on an auction house and try to trick me. But so that one, and one of the things I liked about that is, if you were a fan of Planet of the Apes, original Planet of the Apes was set in the tri-state area of up in New York, right? And of course, the first movie is still, I absolutely love that first movie. And so when I got the opportunity to work on it, I was told that I could kind of grow the universe if I wanted to. And so I took the apes and set them in Memphis. Again, I'm from Mississippi, and Memphis was a big town. And Darren was from St. Louis. Darren Goodhart was from St. Louis, and so we talked about Memphis. And he put some things in there. The astute readers can go through and see the gates, Elvis Presley gates. He's got there's one panel that has the Cadillac, Elvis Presley's Cadillac in it, right? So you can see some stuff from Memphis there. And And that's the story that I look at. I go, that was a lot of fun. That was kind of cool, but I don't know that very many people know about it. When Ross and Boom were doing the Planet of the Apes, are they still doing them? I don't think they are.
I haven't heard anything about it recently.
Yeah, me either. I should have said. I kept telling myself I need to send him an email and say, "Hey, collect these in a trade." I don't know. I don't know if if he could do that. I don't know how that works. So this is going to be another question. And Pete might not have an answer for this one. What work do you not put on your resume? What work? what work would you not recommend somebody buy? And we'll skirt the issues while we may not ask all the details for all the whys, because I've got an answer for mine real quick. But what would you say? No. If you find that one, don't buy it. This is the one when I see this in the cheap boxes, I just keep scrolling.
you buy them just to take them out of the circulation.
So no one will see them. So I might have a guess at Tommy's, but since this is Tommy says, you go first.
No, I don't have any, because
really?
even the dirty books that I've done, I don't have any kids, and so so I'm not super embarrassed about any of the nudie stuff. I didn't do a lot. I did it every now and again, a couple of things here and there, but nothing porno. So I didn't do I didn't do anything really too terrible. I think you're probably talking about Scum of the Earth or something.
I am.
Like that.
I was sitting there Googling trying to find a picture to put it
up. But I mean, there was nothing. That was that one's really more of the name than anything. You say, oh, you did Scum of the Earth, and then you look at it, it was just like a slasher kind of. I didn't even see the movie. I've tried to find the movie that was based off of, and I've never been able to find it. But so if anybody out there has ever seen it, let me know if you find it. Yeah, there you go. But I mean, there's nothing. I've done way more riskier stuff than that book.
And that was one of Malibu's imprints, Aircell, right? Which
yeah.
I still remember. So we had the company lawyer, Will, I think his name was. I can't remember.
Will McGuire.
Yeah, and so he would actually. One time, I remember I was like 15. I was having to package those books. But they were all of questionable content for somebody of a tender age. And so I remember the editors and having a conversation. And the decision was, as long as it's flipped over and it's just the back cover and Curtis is putting them in the envelopes and he doesn't flip it over to the cover or open it, we're good legally.
Oh, you mean for you because you were underage. I got you. There was nothing in. There was nothing in there. Was no. At least I did issues 1 and part of number 2, and there was nothing. There was some little bit of. There wasn't anything even bad in those books. There was maybe some toplessness stuff in there, but that was about it.
Yeah.
Look at me. Tommy.
I'm way worse than that.
So. While we're on the topic of Aircell, I'll share mine. Any guesses for you, Curtis?
Actually, I'm gonna put my drink down because I don't want to have like the spit take.
So I'm
gonna put it down for now. I don't have. I wasn't privy to any of those books, so I wouldn't know. But I'll let you.
Tommy, you got a guess?
I am trying to guess what you would have what it would be. What did you end up?
You got it there under your desk?
She Devils? Was that one?
She Devils on Wheels.
Oh, really?
Well, what was bad about
it? There's one of the other covers. So this was an adaptation of.
That looks cool.
That's what I'm saying, Pete.
Don't go by it.
I'm not sure about those faces, but okay.
This was an adaptation of I think a 1968 B movie.
Yeah,
and the movie was terrible. Tommy, I threw a party. I think you probably came over.
Probably.
Yeah, I threw a party when I got the job. They sent me a videotape. and they said, here's the movie, write it or watch it, and then write up an adaptation of it. And of course, I had never seen the movie before, and so I threw a party. We, bunch of folks came over, and we had popcorn and watched it. It was so bad. I mean, it was terrible.
Well, that's in the same vein of my the scum of the earth stuff. That kind of deal.
Yeah,
But
yeah. It wasn't. I think like the thing about it is the 1968 movie was not. I mean, it didn't have any nudity in it at all. But the guy who drew this book put him in topless in several scenes. I'm like, what? Where did this come from?
Because you wrote it that way, man.
I did not. I don't think.
Whatever.
I put in Trump's.
What's that?
Oh, that's true. Yeah, because I had to change the art. Remember?
Nice about what they're wearing. They're topless.
Oh, there is that dancing scene in the first issue of Trump's that I had to go edit a little bit.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. You had to edit
He
that.
he hasn't said they're wearing clothes, so
They don't. They're aliens. We can do without it, right?
That's right.
Well, Roland, if I can chime in, one thing that a book that you wrote that I thought was cool, and I wish more people knew it, but you collaborated with Hank Canals, right? Formerly of DC Comics, now with Immortal Studios, but it was illustrated by Mike Zeck, and it was called Eliminator. And I mean, and it was a cool story. And I mean, come on, Mike Zeck, one of the best artists of all time, and the covers were absolutely stunning on that whole series.
And nobody's ever heard of it.
Oh God, I love that. That was such a cool. That was like that period where after, I think that was when Marvel had already bought out the company, but we started getting some really cool talent, like Marvel people, doing stuff from Malibu, and like Mike Zeck. That was just freaking amazing. So
that was very much a coup. That was a lot of fun to do that.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. So Curtis, Pete, you got anything you don't want people to see?
But I'm not telling you.
Right.
I mean, there was that,
things that are in print or like pinups and all that kind of stuff. Because I mean, if we go for pinups that people had you draw, golly, I'd be in big trouble.
Oh
well, just kind of on a funny note, that the funniest thing is, so the first character design I did for that video game Versus was like, I was like 18, right? Like just out of high school, so hormones are heavy. So I made the character for the fighting game. They wanted a rave DJ, like a DJ person who did kung fu. So I made a let's just put it this way, very provocative character design, like very, very provocative. And I just was like, you know what? I'm going to put it out there. And if they don't like it, they can always tell me and I'll do a revision. And the craziest thing is when I put it out there,
to let it go.
The president of the company said, "Oh my God, I love it. We're going to name it after my daughter." And I just saw a video on YouTube about that video game. It has kind of a cult status, and some guy was saying, "Oh yeah, it was nepotism at its finest. The president of the company hired Fujita to design the character based on his daughter," and it was like, "No, dude, it wasn't that way. It's 100% my fault." And it just ended up taking off, and it was like a super iconic character design. So it's something that I probably shouldn't be proud of, but it was well received. So there you go. Yeah,
that's very cool. Pete, what about you?
I don't think I've not got a lot out there, so I don't think there's anything out there really that I don't want people to see it, but I perhaps don't want people to think that's my most recent stuff, because I like to think I improve with everything I do. So I'm always trying to push my most recent thing, just so people don't pick up the thing I did back in my second year at Cuban school and go, "Well, this is the best he's got." I was like, "Well, it was then, yeah,
of course, yeah."
I guess every artist feels that way because they.
Oh yeah.
I mean, even pros, even the big names look at the old stuff and go, "Whew,
yeah, all
right." But now you think, well, okay, actually, no, there's an artist under there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's funny that you say that, Pete, because I remember, and I can't remember if this was just me and Tommy talking or if you were part of it, but what a lot of folks don't realize yet is Pete has already done the first almost half of Silverline Team Up.
Nice.
Number 2.
Yeah.
So, he's, I can't remember. Is it 11? Did you do 11 pages?
I think so. Yeah.
I think so
Maybe.
too.
Yeah.
So,
11 pages.
so half the book.
Yeah.
And so when Pete started uploading the pages, I know Tommy said something to me. He said, "Do I have to finish number 1? Can I just jump onto the pages of number 2?"
It's okay. You're making it sound like I didn't want to eat. No.
No.
Tommy
Tommy
messaged me and said, "Just get someone else to finish this rubbish. I'll do the next one."
Yeah, I'm gonna do. No, we're bringing Demon in a little bit on the. Are we supposed to say that? Can you cut that out?
What, dude?
No,
What the heck?
Looking from the record.
I need a 5-second button for Tommy.
I mean, demons. They're bad guys. They're in New Orleans and stuff.
I just removed Tommy.
Well, that was what we were saying. Tommy says that was the moment that the Tommy says.
So right, Tommy says. So you can't cut it out. Yeah. Tommy puts his foot in his mouth like he normally does. They do quite a bit.
Oh, that's festive.
I'll just go back to inking.
Anyway.
How about those Brooklyn Dodgers, right?
Yeah. Let's get to some more of the comments here. Infrafan says, tried to bring back adult Betty Boop Felix Gad stories. Yeah, I guess so. And then he says, everyone take their monocles out before they fall into their wine glasses. So we were still showing the images. And then he says, why not try to reimagine the terrible stuff? You know, we talked about remakes before, and I think that if you're going to remake stuff, that's probably the stuff you ought to do. But I will be honest with you, I would not. Okay, so here's the sad part about this answer that I'm about to give you. So after She Devils and Wheels finished, Tom Mason was one of the head honchos at Malibu. Tom Mason called me up and he said, "Do you want to do another one?" And I said, "Another what?" He goes, "You want to do another She Devils on Wheels?" I said, "Oh dear Lord, they had a second movie?" He goes, No. You can make this one up. I'm like, "Oh, yeah, okay, I can do that." So I got to writing and I called him back and I said, "So can I kill any of them?" He said,
"New characters all the way around."
He said, "You better not." I said, "Why is that?" He goes, "Because they're like a real motorcycle gang and they live down in Florida and they'll drive up to Mississippi and kill you."
Whoops.
So I wrote it, but it never happened. So I wrote all 3 issues of the She Devils on Wheels second volume, but I don't even know that it was ever any artwork done. I'd have to look in my files. I don't remember any of it. Okay, Infravan, I did not say this. This is when you guys were talking about Trumps. He says, "Roland, put in all caps, make them topless if you want."
That's what I read.
Yeah.
That's what I read.
And then he says, "Tommy says too much."
Yeah.
Just the way you finish every script is like, whatever you think is best or whatever. Your license.
This is just a general guideline.
Nude comic, got it. I hear what you're saying, but you're not saying it. I hear what you're saying. Yeah, I hear you. Got it.
Jackson, who still needs to join us on these streams sometime, says Neil Adams hates that Superman breaking the chains pick that everyone wants him to sign. I didn't know that.
That's such a cool pick.
It is.
Yeah. Talking about people hiding projects or things they don't want to. There's a movie called Seizure. I don't know if anybody's seen it. Probably not, because it's really hard. Oliver Stone, the film director, made it, and it's a crazy, cheap horror movie. It's like one of the first movies he ever did, and it has the guy who played Tattoo from Fantasy Island in it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and from what I understand, I saw it once many years ago, but he bought up every copy because he does not
really
in circulation. So if you can ever get a copy of the movie Seizure by Oliver Stone
and get him to sign him, he'd love
it. He might steal them out of your hands.
Yeah, although he doesn't really get comic conventions. But
I guess this is not something that it's streaming, is it?
Yeah, no, definitely not. Definitely not. Oh, that's funny.
It is funny. Go back here to the Kickstarter here.
I am trying to think of anything that I'd be super in. I mean, there's a lot of cringy stuff, but there's nothing that I would somebody brought it to me to sign. Bring it here. I'll sign.
Yeah. There's nothing I've done that I wouldn't sign, but yeah.
One of my teachers at school, I won't say his name, but he said there are stuff that he's done which he looks back on now and he hates, or he didn't enjoy the experience. But when people come up to him with that book to sign, he never says that. He always makes, because that book might be their most important book.
Right.
He doesn't want to ruin that for them.
Yeah.
So he's like, oh yeah, no, great, really glad you enjoyed it, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I never let on. So I never let on to anyone that when I team up the inking. Jesus.
Cringy.
Wasn't there an issue with Howard Chaykin and his Star Wars work or something that he I thought I recall seeing an article or something like that where he kind of denounced it or wasn't happy about it or
really?
Or something like that. I don't know.
I hadn't heard that. I mean, knowing Howard Chaykin, it's it probably could be true, but I don't know. I don't know that to be the case.
Yeah.
We could probably ask him. What if we could get Howard? No, we couldn't get Howard on here because then it would not be a PG-13 stream.
I remember seeing his pencils come in when he was working on Power and Glory. And let's put it this way: there was a lot of editing done and a lot of covering up of things.
Yes.
By the time it got released, it was like, oh, we're publishing these kind of books now. It was pretty intense. Pretty intense.
Yeah. Jackson says proportions are wrong. One leg's too long on the Neil Adams thing.
Oh, that one.
Infrafan's he's got a good point here. He goes, it's not yours anymore when it releases.
That's right.
Nope.
Yeah.
It's done. It's out. It's gone.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
And I think whoever told you that, Pete, I think they're dead on. I would never, or at least I hope I would.
Someone came up to you with the biker chicks thing and said, "Oh man, I love this. When are you going to do some more?"
Yeah.
You're like, I would love to, but the license is a problem.
Yeah, I can't do it anymore.
Well, and then of course
I love doing this book.
I get to tell them, hey, I wrote a second one, but it never got published. Because you would hate to go to someone whose work you loved, it's particularly a work, and then to have them trash it, while they're signing it.
You like this rubbish, man? Your taste is so bad.
Right.
Okay. Thanks.
I heard Alec Guinness was really upset about that he was known specifically for.
Yeah, he hated that, didn't he?
Right? He hated it, right? He was like,
everyone ignored all the other stuff he'd done. It's like, oh, you're everyone. Yeah. Okay.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, that's what.
That's why lots of actors do like one series of stuff, isn't it? 'Cause they don't want to get typecast and just remembered for one thing.
Have you guys ever seen the movie Step Brothers with Will Ferrell?
Yes.
I love that movie, and I love that there's the Billy Joel cover band, and they only do 80s Billy Joel, right? And I get so infuriated when the guy's like, "Play piano, man," and he's just like loses it,
Yeah. Play piano, man. So what else does Tommy say?
Well, I can spoil more stuff. Look at this page, and it's a cool page.
That is a cool page. That's one of my favorite pages in the story. I just love the way C did those sideburns. Got him all, got the bad guys all hands all wrapped up, like Dr. Octopus. Yeah,
that is great.
Yeah, I love that.
Very cool.
Have it done hopefully tonight. This one and another one. Get it on to the hell. We'll figure out those other pages that we gotta. Yeah,
definitely.
Ooh, look, there's a dude back there. I didn't see him.
Oh, in the background there. Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot. Whoops.
Yeah. Well, it's funny too. In scripting it, I had to be careful not to, write dialogue that would cover it up.
Oh, this little guy.
As Pete says, if something's covered up in the background, it's my fault.
Roland, I'm curious. As a writer, right? Uh-huh. In the beginning of your career, was it a challenge, kind of letting go of some of the the control. Like, in other words, there's what you have in your head, there's what's on the page, and then when it gets handed off to the penciler, it becomes its own thing. It becomes something different, to some degree. Was that something that you found challenging to navigate personally? It was?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I was curious. I was just like, it's out of my hands now.
Yeah.
What's this? I didn't write they had clothes on. What's he putting in clothes? Do you know what sort of books I write?
So, yeah. Let's see. How can I be careful not to say too much?
No, don't get in trouble.
No. I don't want to get in trouble because I have, I have great affection for the artist, but toward the let's see, how can I say this? So what I learned from that, Curtis, yes, it was very much. It was often very challenging because what I learned is that if something is important to you as a writer, you need to be clear in what you say. Because if you don't, you're forcing the artist to guess.
Mm-hmm.
They're either going to, well, back in the day, they were either going to call you, which probably wasn't going to happen, right, and ask you for clarity. Today, they might email you and say, I know Pete emailed me about something. I can't remember what it was. That, hey, answer this question for me. And I was able to do that. But, he could have just as well had said, well, you know what? I think this means this in the script, and I'm going to draw it,
Yeah.
And then if I'd have seen it and I'm like, well, that's not what I said. And I look at the script. Well, I didn't say anything. So that's my fault, right? It's not the artist's fault. And that's something that I had to learn fairly quickly because I was being more vague than I am now in the plots, and there would be things come back, and I would look at the page. Thomas knows what I'm talking about. I'm sure now. I would look at the pages and I would say, "What the heck is going on here?" And then I would look back at my plot, and I'm like, "My plot doesn't say anything about this. What is this?" And I would have to figure it out.
Make it work.
Yep, just had to make it work. So I'm a big fan, as you know, Curtis. I'm a big fan of the Marvel method of storytelling because, my reasons are this. Pete, he's a penciler. He's been through. This is what he does all day long, right? He pencils. He tells stories from a visual standpoint. I could write a full script, and I have, and I don't mind them. And sometimes smaller things, I kind of like to do it because it's too small for me to. Okay, I need to do this, right? But I could break it down panel to panel to panel, and call shots and things like that. But in my experience, and this goes back to working with the Curtis, who we worked with at Malibu, working with some big names. The writer is never as good a visual storyteller as they think they are. Because writers, even though they might think visually, they don't see visually. I can say something and Pete can not only see it, but he can not only think it as to what I'm saying, but he can see it and then translate that onto the page. And this is why I like the page by the plot first method, because I can say, okay, Pete, this is what happens. And then Pete can say, okay, well, you know what? I'm going to put a long shot here. I'm going to zoom in right here, put a medium shot. Oh, and then I'm going to turn the camera over here. And, in my experience, the visual is 99% of the time better than what I could have written in a plot in a script by saying page 1, panel 1. In this panel, we see blah, and it's just, I feel that, and I know there are some artists. I mean, Rick Hoberg said once in an interview that the two of us did together that he preferred the full script method. And I asked him why. He goes, because I don't want to have to think. Just tell me what to draw.
Yeah.
Like, okay, yeah, I can see that. I can absolutely see that. But yeah, I mean, again, I look at Pete's pages and I'm like, man, this is so awesome because it's what I had envisioned, but better.
Yeah.
You know, I get that. There's a couple of things that I've had to do the pencils and the inks on. You know, more cartoony kind of things. It's like just they were like, you know, this is what we want you to draw on this page. I'm like, look, you know, this is your stuff. Just tell me what you want me to draw.
Right.
I'm not invested in this. I'm going to make it look. I'm going to make it look kick-ass. Just tell me what you want. You know, tell me if you want the 5 or 6 panels, and this is what's going on. I want to draw what you want. Just tell me what you want, because I don't really want to think about it. Just tell me. It'll look like a Thomas drawing. I just want to do it. Tell me what you want.
Yeah,
that makes sense. You know, it's kind of like I know I have some friends, you know, because of martial arts stuff like that. You know, it's Chinese martial arts, so learning about Chinese linguistics, right? And it's always people that interpret the language do better than translate it. You know, because you have to take context into the way, right? And it seems like that's kind of the thing, right? It's them interpreting versus necessarily. What you're talking about as method is more interpreting as opposed to literally translating word to word, right? So that's very interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah, because really what I want to do with Applied is I want, you know, I want, even as messy as it is, you know, I want Pete to get inside my brain to see, okay, I can kind of see what Roland's going for here, and I'm on board with that, and I'm going to even do this, you know. You know, I feel sometimes it's a little bit like music too, you know. If you're in a band and you're writing a song, it's like, hey man, I came up with this, you know, this line. What do you think? And then somebody says, oh, that's cool. I like the way you strum it. But what if we added a little thing here, you know? And that's, you know, they would build a group can build a song that way. I kind of feel that's what the plot does. Is it, you know? So you know, I try to be, you know, and Pete can tell you, I try not to be super rigid or formal in the plots, you know, to say, hey dude, this is kind of what's going on, this is what I'm thinking here, you know, and try to explain, I mean, you know, because it doesn't have a whole lot of dialogue in it. I mean, I can't really think of any dialogue, but I'll tell him, yeah, hey, they're having a conversation about this, so he knows what the mood is, so he knows what some of the tone should be, you know, what facial expressions should they have.
You know, and if it's something that you need specifically because it's going to really impact what's coming on in a few pages from now or the next book or whatever, you go, here's a fight scene, but in the fight scene, make sure that the guy pokes him in the eyes with 2 fingers instead of a fist, because that's a joke I'm going to use later. But you got to put that stuff in there.
Yeah. And if I don't include that, then, you know, I get 3 pages down. I'm like, where's the
double I? Because I'm going to put a joke about the Three Stooges, and I ruined it. And the guy's like, I'm not adding that. It's already been drawn. It's inked. It's amplite colored. It's not getting in there, Roland. You blew it.
Right. Yeah.
Your 3, and then the penciler go, or the penciler. Man, that would have been a funny joke. We're not putting it in. I'm not redrawing it.
Yeah. Aaron Humphrey said, look, Ma, nerds on the internet.
Oh,
it's the only safe place for nerds, Aaron.
That's right. Yeah. Aaron, be careful. We know where you live. Infrafan says, a follow-up to Curtis. What was a line you love that had to go? Boy, I can't remember any, to be honest with you. I can't remember personally. I can't remember any line in any comics that that I loved so much that the editor said had to go.
I find that the hardest thing. I find even stuff I've written, and I'm like, hey, this is really cool. Then I'm like, oh no, actually, I need to cut stuff because it's too long. I'm like, oh, what do I cut? Because I really like all of it. That's the hardest thing to do.
Yeah.
I wrote it. It's staying in.
We'll just add more pages. It's fine. We'll just add more pages. We'll make
it. Add more panels to the same page.
Add more panels. Add more pages.
Well,
make 2 pages. No, make it 26. It's fine.
You know what I think I would try to do in that situation would just move it to a different scene.
Yeah. Well,
you know,
I think it's interesting. Like ideas get filed away for later. It's like, like originally when for the first issue of Shadow Ghost, I had Roland read my rough draft, and Roland kind of came at me with some pretty, very sound advice, and it was
after he finished crying.
Yeah, after I cried, my mascara was running and stuff like that, but you kind of sit back and then you kind of say, well, how does it serve the story,
Yeah.
And there was one thing that he had me change. There was a scene that I absolutely loved, and I was patting myself on the back. What a clever boy am I? And Roland was not as agreeable in the but visually, some of the ideas of that stayed in the back of my head. And then when I came to a different version of that worked better for the storyline, I was visually able to take ideas from that and convey it in a similar fashion, but I think in a more effective way. So I don't think it's not, you see it for later and it shows up at the right time. I don't know if there is such a thing as bad ideas. I mean,
Oh yeah.
I could name quite a few comic books that are being published now, but I won't. But you can file it away and maybe use it at another point, and that's what I found.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with that. I think that if you got something that you like and it's not working with the thing that you're on, just stick it in a file and pull it out later.
Yeah.
I'm not going to admit it, but the title rejects is you just pull it out of the file. Yeah, this character didn't work here. Well, let's take it a file. These are the rejected heroes, right?
Yeah. Which I love, which I love as a concept. It's not the B. It's like they have A-list celebrity, B-list celebrity, then there's the C-list, and then there's further down, right? And so,
right, yeah.
And really, the most interesting ones are the ones lower on the rung, right? Like So I agree.
Let's see here. There's a couple other comments here. I'll come back to that one. Infrafan. Infrafan said, even as a strict prose writer for now, writers use the same principle. I paint a picture and don't use a photograph. Yeah, you paint a picture with your words. And it's all about giving an impression for a reader to interpret. And then he says, comics are about us hiring an interpreter. Yeah. Aaron said, I take lines out of my stories all the time or rewrite them. Usually rewrite them when I am lettering. I do too.
Oh, yeah.
I don't usually get so married to it. I think I've showed here before my process. Trying to see if I've got one of my scripts handy that I can show. But what I do usually is I will go out on my back porch with the artwork. Usually the pencils. I tend to like to work with the pencils. Number one, I am a huge fan of pencil artwork, so I can just sit there and stare at it for hours. So like for this is actually, since we're kickstarting it, this is the rejects here, right? We'll go up on me, Tommy, here. So keep
all right.
But this is like page 1 for the reject, right? And so you'll see right. Whoops, that's not right behind it. The next page behind it though is page 1. See, rejects page 1, right? And you can see I write everything out longhand. Now, this page in particular doesn't have a whole lot of mark throughs. Let's see if I can find one. But usually I'll write something and scratch it out and write something else. And you can see here, right? I write and move it. No, that line doesn't work there. I got to move it down here, right? You can see all the arrows there. Put that, move this one to page 5, right? And then when I do this, and then when I actually type it, you can see there's several here, right? You can see the scratch outs in the script here. I can't see the camera myself. You see this, there's scratching out here. Some of the stuff up here. Where is that? Yeah, right here. And so I'll edit it when I'm writing, but then the big edit then comes when I actually type it up, because one thing I get to see when I'm typing it is it gives me more accurate idea of, and here's some more where you can see I've marked stuff out. It gives me a more accurate picture of like how many words, how many letters it has. It gives me an idea more of how much space it does. Like, see, here's just a little simple thing, right? You see, I changed that ha 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 here to heh heh heh, right? Now that's silly and it may not matter, but I just scratched it out and changed it because it didn't work for me in what was going on there. So
do you write dialogue as you're doing your first script? What your Marvel style script, or do you wait until the artwork comes back?
I wait until the artwork comes back in. Yeah. So for Silverline Team Up, for instance, Pete. Now I will confess to you, I have ideas in my head.
Yeah.
Of what the conversations are, what they're going to be saying, and that kind of thing. But I don't actually write the dialogue until I see the artwork. Some of that is because I don't ever want to be that 1950s writer and say, Champion walked along in the cold, brisk day, when you're drawing him, like this, and fog coming out of his mouth, because we can clearly see that. So I don't want to. I don't. Now I might give him voice to accentuate what's there. I might have him go,
Brr.
yeah, brr, something like that. But I don't. Of course, the caption thing is an extreme example. They used to do that a lot in the 1950s. But I think that if the characters can show it, I don't need to tell it. I need to tell something different. I need to have them communicate something that we don't necessarily see. Another thing is, I could, if I pre-script it, without having seen it. What if I write? I know this is a joke. a lot of you penciler guys. I don't want to write too many words and then cover up all the important artwork, and then feel like, oh no, I love all these words. I don't want to cut any of them.
That's smart. Like, kind of know yourself and know, you can handle your expectations.
Yeah. And so I love to script based on the art that I see, because here's the thing. I like to picture this. Now I don't bake, so please don't say, well, Roland, that's not the way you bake, but just hear me out. Okay. So what I like to kind of imagine this is, when I write the plot, that's me going to the grocery store and I have gathered all the ingredients for the story, right? And I line them up and give Pete the recipe, right? Pete takes it and he puts it all together and he bakes it and he says, here you go. And I'm like, man, that is a good looking cake. Now I'm going to take the frosting and I'm going to put the frosting on, and then I'm going to decorate it, right? So I give Pete the ingredients, he bakes the cake, and then I put the frosting on it.
Talking about collaboration.
Yes,
collaboration really is the key, right?
Yeah. It is.
Have you? I was just talking to some animation friends the other night, and we talked about the idea of 10%. The last 10% of a project sometimes feels like it's the 90% of the work for the entire project.
All the time.
Right? It's like you get 90%. You're like, oh my gosh, I'm almost done. But then that last 10% is where you really have to buckle up and just push. And it's
I feel like that on every page. The last panel, every page, I'm like, I've just got to get this page done. I'm done with this page now. Just phone in this panel. And usually the panel I leave to last is the one that needs the most work, because I can breeze through the others and I now concentrate. And now I'm like, just get it done. Just no one will notice that. No one will notice that's not in the panel this time. It's fine. Just move on. And then next page, I'm like, great, let's go again.
Yeah. Note to self. More fire trucks in the script.
More fire.
Last panel.
Last panel. Yeah.
It's so funny you said, Pete, because that's how I was on like one of the pages I was working on recently. It was like that last freaking panel, and then as soon as you're done, you're looking at, okay, I'm done. I saved the file or whatever, and then it's like, oh damn, what's that stray little line there? Like nobody's gonna see it.
No, it's right.
But I see it, right? I see that damn little line. Like, okay, well, let me just. All right. That's it.
I drew an inked panel this morning, and I'm not joking. I started at 9:30 this morning, and I finished at 4 p.m. on one panel.
One panel.
That's basically from a blank of nothing, then roughs, pencils, and inks. And I did it all digitally. But at the end, I was like, okay, his hat's meant to be on the floor, but you know what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's fine. We're finished.
Yeah.
One panel. I was so tired. I'm done.
Aaron says, because we said we know where he lives, he goes, and that's why I move every month. Let's see. He said, I have the same problem. I am literally finishing up the last 3 pages of my book, Godlings, and it is like pulling teeth for me. The PlayStation is always calling.
Yes. Yes, definitely.
Yeah, I don't have a PlayStation, so that's not a problem for me. Let's see here. I skipped. Interfan said writing is also like shopping in that you shouldn't do it hungry, or you're going to be there a lot longer than you want. That's right, you know. And the other thing, is, and I know artists are often told this too, is that you at some point in time you have to stop and move on.
Yeah.
You could sit there and nitpick and nitpick and nitpick and nitpick, and you
Noodle
could
a page to death if you keep going.
yes. But at some point, and I think this is one of the things that takes a little time, to learn. Basically, you got to get some pages under your belt before you can figure this out. But at some point in time, you got to say that's enough. Nothing else I do on this page is going to matter. I could put another 2 hours into it, but none of that's going to matter. And I think that's not always easy to do. We tell ourselves it is, but it's not really, because you see, oh, I need to add this. Oh, let me do this. Oh, let me fix this.
Well, the thing that I'm finding and that I always find fascinating is I view it almost like a tapestry, right? Like a comic book is really like a tapestry. It's like you have the patterns and the artwork in their small sections, and then you have how they affect it as a whole, right? And if you're looking at a tapestry or something that's like that, it's the total pattern, not this one stitch here, right? And you can go in closer and closer and closer and closer, and it's that interplay of like the panel versus the page versus and that's the fascinating thing that I think is probably going to always be a constant balancing act, right? And it just makes such a cool art form.
Absolutely. Inference fan said this, and I'm not sure I 100% agree with this. He says art is never finished, only abandoned. And I get that, but one of the things I've always said is that, for particularly in relation to writing, is that your lots of time writing is done when it's published.
Mm-hmm.
Once somebody says, okay, we're going to publish it, then it's done. But until then, you can make changes. And heck, now with print on demand.
I was fixing to go into that. We've got people from, we've been doing Kablam now for 15, 16, 17. How long? It's been a little bit. We have books from, there's, we've got thousands and thousands of users, right? Of creators that we've printed their books from. And, some people get their book, they'll do it, they'll get it out, and then it's done, right? And then we never hear from them again. They were just getting the book done. They wanted to do something, which great, love those guys.
Yeah.
But then you got guys that from because basically when we start everybody's got an account number, right? A user number, and it started off at 0 or started off at 1. I'm user number 1. Hey, Kablam, user number 1, and now we've got 26,000 some odd people. But you've got some of those first 10,000 people that are that put in books towards the beginning 15 years ago. They're still making edits on those books. Wow. And it's like, stop already.
Right. Make something new.
Put it to sleep. I've said this on many of our streams and many of the other ones. I have so many bad misspellings in my stuff. I can go fix. I'm done. I'm done with it. I'm ready to move on to the next book. If it's misspelled, that's just kind of cute. I'm leaving it in. Unless it just really screwed up the story. I may have misspelled something that really messed something up. But otherwise, I just leave it alone. I was like, it's done. I'm not fixing it.
Well, you remember that we had to make a change on Trump's. You remember that? One of the pages.
Oh, look at that! It went black.
You don't remember that?
No, I don't.
Well, because and it's funny because one of our backers spotted it. They one of the backers read the book, sent me a message, and said, "Hey, on page so and so, I think she meant to say King of Spades." But she said, she King of Clubs.
Yeah, because you had the wrong character talking.
And I went back and looked at it, and I'm like, dadgum, he's right. She should have said King of Spades, but she actually says the King of Clubs. So I went and made that change, and then of course, Tommy fixed it in the files. And so now everything that we printed since then has been corrected. But if you've got a Kickstarter book it has the wrong word in it. So,
well, what do you folks think about like the whole George Lucas being able to go back in and retool, and then the fans saying no, we don't accept your version of this revised film as the real version, and the back and forth. Where's the ownership lie? Where does the judgment lie? Do you guys have any thoughts on that? I'm always curious about.
Well, see, with the Star Wars movies, to me, this is not like if you have a movie like the what was it, the Justice League movie, where he put out his director's edition or whatever. No, George decided that he wanted to change the stuff.
Yeah,
and it's like, you can't just change all. And not only did he say he changed the stuff, he said this is the way it was supposed to be. I'm like, no, you put it out the way it was supposed to be. It's
Right.
done. You can't change it. You can put out another, here's a special edition. This, but that's all. That's the way with George's stuff. But
I didn't realize you did that.
yeah,
I don't mind if then they're changing the effects and they're updating.
no, I don't. I mean, I don't know. I don't.
Story. It's a different film, so
Yeah, it's a different. Yeah, like a hand shot didn't shoot first or whatever, and all that kind of silliness. Like, yeah, you did.
That's
You
the
killed
fix.
that guy.
The spelling mistake. You correct your spelling mistakes. That's fine. And
Yeah.
but
Right.
if you go in and actually, I'm gonna change this character, so they killed the guy first, or they killed
Right.
the guy second. It's like, well, it's a
To,
different
to,
character.
to make him a different character, like it's like no, I mean, and it really didn't change a whole lot to mess with it. So it's like, is that what you were meaning, Curtis?
yeah,
I think that's what
exactly
you.
what I was thinking.
Yeah.
you
It's
know.
like,
Yeah.
why bother? Why spend? I just look at it like, why spend all the money? Doing it.
Make something new.
Make something else? Be done with it. Make something else.
I think like Tommy said, I think an extended cut, those are fun. But yeah, completely going back in and revising it so that it changes the story.
In saying that's the way that you have to, the other was wrong. It's like, oh my goodness, I've got a whole bunch of videos here showing that that's not what was wrong. It's
Right.
not-
Yeah. Yeah.
and it didn't change the character at all. So quit trying to mess with it.
On a different note, I do think it's funny when like somebody took Jane Austen's book Pride and Prejudice, and then they made Pride and Prejudice and Zombies.
Yeah. Yeah.
I gotta appreciate the hustle on that. I think that's awesome.
Yeah. So this is an interesting question that Infrafan had. He says, on what property would you love to work on if you could? And then he says, if that Zorro copyright mess ever clears up, I'm dropping everything to write a story I have. So what about it? Is there any properties that you guys would just say, man, I would love to do that?
Commandy.
Really? Commandy,
I still want
cool.
to do Commandy. I would love to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
That would be
like
fun.
that. There's something about that last person alive aspect, or last human alive.
Yeah.
In his case, I think it's quite cool. Like Planet of the Apes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've always.
Yeah.
I haven't got a lot of Commandy comic books, but I don't think there are a lot of Commandy comic books. But yeah, he's cool. I like him. I'll
Yeah.
definitely do that.
Yeah. So did you
I never did any. I never did any Star Wars comics. Those would have been fun. But I'd do more Spider-Man stuff if I was asked to. I'd sure, because I just love Spider-Man. I don't care. I love Spider-Man.
Mhm.
Spider-Man. I got the coolest. Let me show y'all. We did like I was telling y'all. We did our last Christmas.
Kelly stood up because his template, his
Oh,
page-
the honor. Check out this. Look at it. Can y'all see this little guy? Take the.
Wait, is that section
Get
code?
him in there. Get him in the camera there. Can you see him? There he is.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, is that a suction cup at the top?
No, it's a magnet. So I'm going to put a
Oh,
light here.
cool.
So, that's not metal. Oh well. I don't have anything you can stick to. Yeah, no, it's a little Spider-Man that's got a bobblehead, and that's so cute. Spider-Man. Yeah. So anything for Christmas, just get me some Spider-Man something or Star Wars something, and boom.
Nice.
Oh, I got to show y'all. I know this is leading off to a different subject. Got to show y'all a new shirt that I got. This is a cool shirt. I love zombie stuff, right? So my favorite, well, of course, my favorite movies, the Star Wars movies, of course, but my favorite zombie movies, Return of the Living Dead. I've mentioned it before. Look, can y'all see that?
Send more.
Send more paramedics. I love that scene. That's when the zombies get those aren't your typical zombies, but it's one when he gets into the. Y'all remember that scene when he gets into the one zombie gets into the ambulance and he tells them to send more paramedics. That is so funny. I love that movie. All right, sorry. Go ahead. This is Thomas talks. I'm talking.
That's right. You go.
Yeah.
You roll with it, man. Roll. Keep on.
There you go. Okay, I'm done.
Pete Curtis.
I mean, for me, like Iron Fist or Shang-Chi, I would like to do just because
of
the martial arts influence and kind of like put my stamp on it in terms of like, or accentuate that aspect of it that I
right.
You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, like Daredevil, I would love to work on, but I ain't touch it. I don't. I mean, that is like way too tall in order. It's like, I love that book. I wouldn't want to ruin it. Let's put it that
way. Yeah.
I can tell you the franchise I wouldn't want to work on.
Oh yeah.
Transformers.
Maybe if you wrote it, because you didn't want to draw it, because he's realizing how much you'd have to draw. That'd be we're gonna cuss on the thing. That would be a bitch to draw, wouldn't it?
Of cars and trucks.
But see,
blow my brains out.
You can just do what everybody does franchises now. Just change it into what you want. So all of a sudden, they no longer can transform into robots and on superheroes. And
but then you're still drawing all the tech suits and all the mechanical stuff, and there's nothing could be organic. It's all going to be. Oh boy, yeah, you're right.
You know, Sid, color Trunks.
Yeah.
Right, she does Transformers amazing.
That's great.
Yeah,
right, she's amazing at Transformers. I don't know how she has the patience to do it. It's incredible. I can't do it. I can draw a couple of cars on a page.
Yeah.
As you know.
Yeah.
But you
and
have
they look like
22
cars.
pages of cars. I can draw a car chase. That's cool. But 22 pages of cars transforming and talking. No.
So Roland, what he's saying is, if you put that in a book, he quits. That's what he's.
Well, shoot, I guess I gotta go rewrite number 3 now. So speaking of car chases, I know we keep chasing rabbits here. So here's a question for you, Pete. So if you're going to do a car chase, would you prefer to make the cars like realistic cars, or do you just want to draw a car?
No, it's got to be a realistic car, unless it's the Batmobile. And the best Batmobile is the animated series Batmobile. No, it has to be real cars. Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Because real cars are better than made-up cars. Cars look good. Cars look the classic cars. They look cool, right?
Well, I'm thinking, sometimes in exaggerated art, sometimes they'll draw the car actually leaning forward, like it's like a human being runs.
Absolutely, yeah. But it's still based on a
real car. Yeah.
Unless it's the Batmobile. What other cars? Spider-Man's got some buggy.
Spider-Mobile, yeah.
But even that's like a buggy.
Yeah.
With a Spider-Man logo on it. I have a fondness of drawing Wonder Woman's invisible jet.
Those are great. I love the ink in them too.
Oh man, I could draw 22 pages of that plane.
So Pete, have you ever heard of the story Invisiworld?
Invisiworld,
yeah.
No.
I'll pull up an image here. So Invisiworld. So this was an independent comic back in the 1980s. You remember that one, Curtis?
I don't recall that one. No.
Really, Eternity did it, I think.
Okay.
Okay, here. This was it's the old Eternity. I don't need all these. Okay, here we go. This is a good panel. Here's another panel. Let me pull up this cover here. No, not that. Open image in a new tab. Yeah. So this is Invisiworld. So that's the cover to Invisiworld, right?
I love it.
Is it created by a letterer?
Actually, Kurt Hathaway. Yeah, I think Kurt Hathaway lettered it.
Okay.
He didn't create it though. But here is a page from Invisiworld. Let me see. Let me get another page here.
That's awesome.
Open image, new tab. So here's a page from Invisiworld.
Wow.
Brilliant. That's how you do it.
The whole story. Everything is invisible. It features the green Inviso. The green Inviso with arrows. Right? It is a funny book.
Wow.
Let's see. I can't. That's way down there. How do I zoom
The profit margins on that must have been through the roof.
Right. You can't really make anything out on that, can you? But here's another page where they do things. They do things. Some of the sound effects, like where does fear and things like that, emotions. Sometimes it's really, really funny though. But yeah, it was totally an invisible world that was just really, really funny. And it was an Eternity book.
That's great.
How many issues did it run?
I think it was just the one.
I hope so.
Yeah. But in the issue, they did the Mighty Mites, which
love the Mighty Mites.
Yeah, and so I think this was their first appearance or something like that. I can't remember.
And they were invisible too. So this week,
no, they were not invisible. What? Someone has. Oh, this is that illegal site. I started scrolling down here and I'm like, what? Someone's got the whole book on here. It's that illegal site though. It just, the whole book is available online. That's just crap. Yeah.
But they left the art out, so it was.
Yeah. Like here, none other than the mighty Inviso shows up. And he says, "Good evening," and then the sound effects are cheer, wahoo, applause, clap, yay, So anyway, it's incredibly funny. If you can find that, you can probably find it in the cheap boxes. If you find it, you should buy it. Yeah, because it is funny. So for me, I don't know. I think my problem with thinking about, because you guys know my favorite characters, but my problem in thinking about like doing a Spider-Man or the Avengers, like as a writer today, is that I don't know what's going on. I don't know, I don't know where content used to. I would have, because Spider-Man only had 3 books back in the day, and I knew, but I don't know continuity. I don't know all the different verses. Haven't kept up with any of that. I would love to write, classic Spider-Man.
Yeah.
That
which
would
be a thing, like they did X-Men, like 1990s X-Men, right? So,
yeah. Oh man, see, that would be fun.
But I remember, and I have it somewhere, but you had written a spec script for Green Lantern with Kilowog. Right?
Oh yeah.
So would that be something like going back to that?
So that actually wasn't a spec script as much. That was I had talked to I had made a pitch, and the editor, I won't call him out by name. The editor, I'll tell you guys off when we're not streaming. The editor said, "Hey, I like the story. Let's make some changes. We need some revisions, but I like the story. I'll buy it from you." Right? And I'm like, "Okay, cool." And so I made a round of revisions, and he said, "We're almost there, blah, blah, blah." And I made another round of revisions, based on the things he was telling me. I made 3 different revisions.
Wow.
And I think when I sent the 3rd set of revisions in, I got a note back from him and said, "Hey, these revisions look pretty good, but I see you got a job at Malibu, so good luck there."
Wow.
Thank you.
Now.
And so that story, that Green Lantern story that I wrote and revised to the editor's, preference, did not see light of day because he saw that I got a job at a different company.
He didn't cut you a check for at least your work?
Nope.
Wow.
I was not paid a dime.
Wow, that's a shame.
Yeah. Yeah.
I started charging for revisions on my artwork at some point because
Yeah.
and I even there was one guy, wanted me to do some character designs online and it just didn't seem reputable. So I wasn't too sure, but I needed the paycheck. So all I did is I sent him some really rough sketches and said after the rough sketches for me to go to final art, he had to pay half of the invoice.
Yeah.
And of course
Yeah.
he never heard from the guy,
Yeah. Well, this was DC Comics.
That's crazy. Yeah.
I mean, I will confess that really surprised me. It really surprised and shocked me because I'm like, why can't I, just because I work at a different company, why can't I, I mean, I was writing this script before I got hired.
Yeah.
My company won't care if I
shouldn't the new company, shouldn't Malibu should be their thing if they decided that they didn't want me to do it or not.
Yeah. And the thing about it is when Malibu made me the offer, I said, okay, well, look, here are the things that I have in the works. These guys know comic books. They know that that takes a while for things to happen, right?
Right.
I said, so these are the things that I've done. These are the things that I've got in the works. And they were like, of course, almost like, yeah, no problem. Yeah, not a big deal. But yeah, I was really upset that they kind of pulled that on me, and I'm like, yeah, just not cool at all.
Yeah. Holy.
But other than that though, Curtis, I don't know. I liked Green Lantern and Green Lantern Corps. I liked Englehart stuff on the Green Lantern Corps.
Yeah.
But I was never really a huge Green Lantern fan. I liked Green Lantern in the Justice League International that was it DeMatteis and
the Bart Sears one? No.
Yeah, the Bart Sears. Yeah. A good looking book. Yeah. I probably would have preferred to write Blue Beetle and Booster Gold out of that series than Green Lantern.
Yeah.
That's a book I'd like to do actually. Blue Beetle, Booster Gold, because they're fun.
Yeah, they are fun. Yeah. I agree. I think they're fun. Other than that, there's not really, for me, there's not really a lot of characters at DC that make me go, ooh, I'd really like to write that.
I liked Blue Devil. I for some reason I really liked that character. I just thought that was such a fun character and fun book.
Yeah. I hear he showed up in Swamp Thing and it was fairly decent.
Jesus Christ, dog. He wants to come in. He wants to come out.
He keeps letting his dog in and out. That's funny.
But on that, I think kind of dovetail off that. Here's a phone. If you could have a what if or Elseworld story with a character from the big two, what would your what if or Elseworlds be? What scenario?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, right.
Oh, that's tough.
And it's like it has to be cool. It can't be like, what if Wolverine was gluten free? Like something. Like
That's where I was going.
Wolverine was vegetarian. Yeah.
No, Tommy's was what if Wolverine was actually Spider-Man? I'm the best there is at what I do, and what I do is to swing through the city.
Yeah, exactly. And these type of always weird ones, like what if Aunt May became Spider? I mean, they literally would have things like that were just so well, usually they were done well.
I've got I don't know that it's comic books. I've got a what if for the MCU.
Okay.
What if the Fantastic Four had come through the portals to stop Thanos?
Okay, I can see that. I can see that.
I read a thing today. Spoiler alert.
Okay.
Or not. That they might be showing up in the next Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness.
Really?
Nice.
Well, I mean, I don't know how spurious that is, but at least Reed Richards might be showing up. Yeah.
Oh, that could be cool.
Because I thought they were going to try and introduce the X-Men this way as well. The multiverse.
That'd be cool.
See, what I thought would have been cool when Thanos, snapped and killed everybody, I said, it'd be really cool if in the next movie, the Fantastic Four pop out of a portal. They've been in space since 1960s, right? And they pop out of the portal and they have to fight and defeat Thanos to bring everybody back. And that's their introduction into the MCU.
Wow. on the Thanos, I would do what if instead of murdering half the universe's population, Thanos doubled the amount of produce and resources, And so
With the snap, how about I make more food?
yeah,
There,
exactly.
it's all fixed.
And then like everybody's overweight, Steve Rogers, you name it.
Did anybody ever do a story? What if Uncle Ben lived?
Oh, that'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, and doesn't he live in some of those Spider-Man other versions?
I don't know. I can't answer that question. That's what I said. I'm not up on all the Spider-Verse stuff.
I'm sure there's probably one where Uncle Ben lived but Aunt May died sort of scenario, isn't there? But I don't know.
Yeah.
That's always the switch up, right? They still make it happen anyways,
Right.
Yeah. I did love Flashpoint's Batman. How they had it was Thomas Wayne was Batman. That Bruce and Martha died and the dad took over. That was really cool,
Oh.
Yeah.
Hey, Dante. All right. Thwip says, what if Blue Beetle and Booster Gold were enemies?
Nice. That'd be cool.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool. Yeah. I'm trying to think what else would be good ones.
What if Thor actually killed Thanos in that one scene where he was going to chop his head off, and if none of this would have happened?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of talking.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. I'm trying to think.
Did y'all see the I don't want to get into because I think Roland, I think you said you liked it. The what's on the Disney Plus, the what you call it, the Eternals movie. Did y'all watch the Eternals yet?
I thought without spoilers, it was better than I thought it was going to be. Actually,
I got about a third of the way into it. I'm like, I am bored and I don't care, so I switched it to some. I started watching Hallmark Channel stuff.
Well, it's funny because I've seen several of the old Marvel editors from the the 80s and 90s. I've seen them posting this last week, I guess, since it's been out, and they're all basically saying the same thing: is that it's just boring.
It wasn't boring, I guess. Okay, I'll restate it. I was bored because I was wanting it to be a Marvel type movie, and it was something else.
It's very somber.
I just didn't really care. And I'm like, and everybody was way too beautiful. And I'm like, okay, give me some ugly folks. I need something. So I'm not all that familiar with all of the characters, but in the Eternals character stuff, are they the ones that created everything on the planet Earth? Is that how it's supposed to be?
No, the Eternals are there to protect the Earth, aren't they?
Right.
Yeah.
Placed there by these Celestials. Is that right?
Yeah. So, I mean, basically, as it turns out, it looks like, everything became what it was on Earth because they decided that, oh, it was just so stupid. I couldn't get any further into it.
Yeah.
I think visually, it didn't. It's a lost opportunity because they could have gone full on Jack Kirby aesthetically.
Yes.
It looked really cool.
Oh, look, the costumes were beautiful. All the effects were really cool.
Were the Kirby costumes though?
I don't even know. I don't even know what the characters.
Loosely stylistic, but the colors and everything is very subdued. It's like a real somber looking, grayed out kind of looking movie.
So it's a DC movie.
Yeah. It's kind of has that kind of. It definitely has visually that kind of vibe.
Where I was going with all this was that we were talking about Thanos and stuff, and there's a scene in it where they're talking to those guys about, well, how come you guys didn't do anything about the Thanos thing? And they're basically like, well, we weren't supposed to get involved. It's like, okay,
that's the relation of the Eternals, isn't he?
This is stupid. I'm done. I want this to be part of my Marvel movie history. I'm done. I don't. This didn't happen. This movie didn't happen. I don't care. They didn't have anything to do with it. Their answer was, because we just didn't. We weren't supposed to be involved. Okay, all right.
Yeah. Thwip
says. That's what Tom
did they ever do what if where Professor X and Magneto switched ideologies? I don't know.
Not
That seems
exactly.
like something that would have happened, but I don't recall that.
They did have that time where Magneto was leading them, right? Like,
Yeah.
which kind of like he kind of softened to some degree, right? So that's all I
They
remember.
did the Apocalypse thing, didn't they? Where Xavier died and Magneto became leader of the X-Men.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was really good.
Yeah.
He's part of the X-Men now, anyway.
Yeah. Which just blows my mind.
Oh, it's so good.
Really?
Yeah. He's really really realizing what their powers can really do if you push it. If you actually really think about what they can do, it's really good.
Nice.
I enjoy it anyway. I love the X-Men. I think he's doing a good job.
Yeah. Who's writing it?
That is Hickman. Is it Hickman?
Oh, Jonathan Hickman. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I got a good what if. What if the alien symbiote attached itself to Wolverine? That would be fun.
Yeah.
The Punisher would be in the better. The Punisher having the symbiote suit. Wow, that'd be fun.
And then of course Carnage would take on a completely different embodiment, right?
Yeah. Sabretooth would become Carnage.
Yeah.
Y'all see how much that page is going for? Have y'all seen that on the internet the past couple of days?
No,
I saw the one with the
from
Black
the Secret
Spider-Man.
Wars. Yeah, from the Secret Wars. Yeah.
You know, I don't know. I don't think Zek owns that page anymore, does he? That's not his.
No.
Nah, he sold that thing for what, $100 a long time ago, I'm sure.
The thing about it is, you know, I mean, more power to them if they can get it. But I'm sitting there thinking, there are a lot of other pages in comic bookdom that I can think of that ought to be holding that. But that page, I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's cool, but really.
How much is it up?
It's not even the first appearance of the black costume, isn't it? It's the origin of the black costume.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Let's see. What's the latest amount, Tommy?
It sold for $3.3 million, isn't it?
Oh wow.
Holy
Yeah.
cow.
$3.3 million.
Yeah, I had to go into my piggy bank to buy it. It was a bunch of money. Had to bust open a piggy bank.
Just one, though, right?
Oh yeah, not all of them. Nope.
Yeah. All right, guys, it's 9:53. We should probably wrap up since Tommy is said. Tommy's now said. Next week will be a Pete said.
Uh-oh. I'm not sure you want to know what I'm going to say.
Yeah, who's going to be in that next issue of? We don't start talking about
it. Yeah. So anything else, guys?
Yeah, I would say, well, of course, everybody don't forget the Kickstarter. And like Roland said, Roland said in the past, but we won't always reiterate is the books are practically done. We've successfully, delivered on all the Kickstarters. And so we're not one of those companies that just kind of accepts the funds without actually having the product.
Seriously, you guys that are watching, you see, I am finishing the last 3 or 4 pages right now. So by the time the Kickstarter actually ends, it will be completely done. The other, the Sniper and Rook is all completely done and colored, right? Or is it almost colored, or is it all colored? I think it's done, isn't it?
It's done, yeah.
Yeah, it's done. So, and then Haley's knocking these colors out just as quick as I'm doing. I think she's already done those covers from the other day, and So if anybody's to be mad at anybody, be mad at me. But I'm banging them out as humanly possible. But we've got how many more days? We got 13. If I can't do 3 or 4 pages in 13 days, then I need to quit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no, I am not concerned. I think we're in great shape. The book is already lettered. I know it has to have a couple of masks. I know it has to be masked when the final art comes in, but it's already kind of lettered. I know Tommy has seen a draft of it. I don't know if you read it or not, but you've seen a draft. So that just has the artwork just has to be swapped out with the finals. So yeah, 13 days. Hopefully we'll make that. Like I said, I'd love to see us make it tonight, but it is 10 o'clock, so I'm not sure that's going to happen. But maybe we can make it tomorrow. Tomorrow's a holiday, so maybe there'll be folks staying home and backing Kickstarters tomorrow.
Woohoo! Yeah, we did really. We're doing really good so far. So
Yep.
Yeah.
Got good momentum. So we just need to keep that up.
Working
If you listen,
we're working on our stretch goal ideas and stuff.
yes, yeah. So if you're listening and you got a stream and you want to invite me and Tommy or John and Haley and C, if you want to invite one of us to your show, reach out to us. We'll come with you. John Medic and I will be on OCD. Orlando Collector Deviants will be on with them this Thursday, and I think that will be at 8 p.m. You guys don't forget to catch the stream, the Tuesday show, that Silverline show on Tuesday at 8 p.m. Pacific time, which is like 11 p.m. for us here. Boy, for Pete, that's probably
late.
Yeah, late. And the Whammers will be back on Wednesday at 8 p.m. with the Wednesday Wham. And then we'll be back next week with Pete Says, same time, same channel. Go back to Kickstarter, share the Kickstarter if you can. Shout out again to Daytona Beach Comic Con. If you have not made your vacation plans yet, make your plans to attend Daytona Beach Comic Con. It is certainly the area's best comic con. It is a comic con. You get more comic books there than you could get at the great big one. So do that. Curtis, where can folks find you on the interwebs?
Sure. And before I give my information, just one quick update. I co-host a show called The Comics Foo Show. We talk about martial arts and comic books. And
what's the next episode?
Tuesday.
Oh, cool.
During the day, of course, not going to interfere with the show, but it's all, just so you know the format, it's all pre-recorded, edited with footage. But we have Brad Graber on, and phenomenal guest. I recommend everybody sees it. He's the head of Powerhouse Animation, which is the studio that does shows for Netflix like He-Man, Masters of the Universe, Revelation,
cartoons,
also the Castlevania series. He's the actual head of the entire animation studio. And also,
did you tell him? Did you happen to tell him, hey, I got a comic here that would make a good animated show?
Well, I did talk a little bit about it on the show, and
good.
And we talk a lot about it's phenomenal to hear about his journey to running his own animation studio and how it all started with Kevin Smith and him and stuff like that. So I recommend everybody watch it. It's a really fun episode.
Okay, and that's going to drop Tuesday when?
Tuesday at about 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And it's a two-parter, so this is part one.
It's about 2 o'clock here on the East Coast. So
yeah, and he's even really excited about it. It was so funny. He actually wrote me last week and said, "Hey, when is that episode gonna drop?" Which I was so flattered that the guy that does Masters of the Universe and all these Netflix shows was asking about the Comics Foo Show. He's
that's cool.
So that's please cool. Check that out. It'll be on several channels, including Silverline.
So get his address. Thwip just said excited to watch that.
Thank you.
Get his address. Maybe we'll send him a Silverline care package.
Yeah, definitely.
Get a postal for him. Yeah. What's that?
And a contract.
Yeah, an agreement.
Yeah.
But we signed this already. You just need to sign us up.
Okay, so where can folks find you online?
Yeah, and where people can find me online, all across social media, but the easiest way is I have two websites. Go to them. It has all the social media for both. For my martial arts school, you can go to tigercrane.net. And for anything comic book related or Shadow Ghost related, go to theshadowghost.com. Make sure it's theshadowghost.com. So check it out.
Sounds good. Pete, what about you? Where can folks find you on the interwebs?
They type into the Google Peter Clinton art, and there I shall be. Not physically, but there I shall be.
There you are, right? Tommy, what about you? Where can folks find you online?
Just go to infernostudios.com, and there's some links there, or go on the Facebook, mostly on the Facebook, so you can check me out there. It's just Florimonte. Go and Google, type Florimonte, Florimonte, and you'll find me. Anybody needs any printing stuff done, check me out over at Kablam. We can help you out.
Sounds good. You can find me on all the social medias at Roland Man or Man Roland. Just hit me up. You'll find I had a business card here earlier. Usually you need to look for my caricature, but it looks just like me. And until next week, remember to
Wait.
Oh, we're waiting.
We've got it. I got it.
Mine.
Make mine Silverline.
You gotta look at the camera.
And say it loud.
Make mine Silverline.
Excellent.